live on Facebook. That usually takes a second. And now I can start the webinar here. And then I can do the recording thing. All right, so the dog stopped barking. That's good.
Yeah. So far, so good.
So far, so good. I closed the doors. That's how it is, right? Working from home. It's all the things.
Yeah.
All the things. All right, so my favorite day of the week, Thursday mornings, I get to go live on the Rise Above Noise Facebook group. I get to give a little bit of advice and some tips, and then I get to introduce you guys to somebody amazing. So I have somebody amazing for you today, but first I'm going to give my digital marketing tip of the week. And honestly, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. This is just a little bit of a sales thing, a little bit of a here's what I've got going on. And as always, when I talk about marketing and sales, it is because I have something that I want to offer to you and to sell to you, but it's also because this is something I've created because people have asked for it. In talking with heart-centered entrepreneurs and talking with service-based professionals, they're feeling overwhelmed with social. They're feeling overwhelmed with not knowing how to do their emails or email welcomes. And so I created a product that takes them step by step through that, and working in a group format or a course format makes me able to offer that at a fraction of the price of what it would be like to work with me one-on-one. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Britney will bear with me because I know she's already heard this. Let's see if I can do this. Share my screen. There we go. All right, so I know that people in the Rise Above Noise group, people that I'm talking to, we are busy business owners. And I know that people have been hearing more and more about automated welcome email nurture series, but they're not really sure. Is it for me? Do I want to put the time into it? Does it really work? So what I want to say is if you really want to connect with new contacts in a way that doesn't feel icky, it doesn't feel selly, it feels generous and it feels kind, then an automated welcome series is probably something you'll want to take a look at. If you want to spend less time each week making authentic connections and starting conversations, you also might want to think about an automated welcome, at least a welcome email, if not a series. I'm thinking about I went to a speed networking event yesterday with Pepper Lane. It was amazing. I met so many amazing people. My face was hurting from smiling afterwards, and it was great. Now I'm going to reach out to those people. Now they're not going to get an automated sequence because they haven't opted in yet, but I do have welcome emails ready to go for that. And so I think it's important to know that you can save time by putting aside time now. So if you're ready to have the automated email sequence, you know that you can generously welcome new subscribers to your best content. So in a list growth strategy, what you're going to do is you're going to create a lead generator. That's a freebie. It's something of value that you can offer to your ideal client to mini solve a problem, to take them one step closer to you, one step closer to solving whatever problem that they have. You want to offer that through a sign-up form, which is either embedded on your site or it's a standalone landing page. And then there's the juicy part. Then there's the welcome email series, which is just a series of informational, inspirational content that's sent automated to be sent over a preset period of time. It could be time for you to think about, all right, this is when I want to tick this. I want to tick this off my list. I don't want to think about it all summer long. I want to just get it done. And so that's where the Take Action, Create Your Email Welcome Series program comes into place. And our first live Q&A is this coming Tuesday, March 23rd. There's already content in the dashboard for you to get started with, and then the first module drops on Sunday the 21st. But our first live Q&A is Tuesday, March 23rd, and this is what it's going to look like. You're going to create a clear messaging plan, and that's the key component to attracting your ideal client. You're going to identify your why, you're going to clearly express your mission, and you're going to create content copy that communicates with intent and purpose. You're going to create your lead generator, it's freebie, it's your opt-in, it's your lead magnet, it's your irresistible free offer, whatever you call it, it's the same thing. It's something of value that you can generously give. Of course, we're going to create your sign-up form and your embed forms for your website. This is the crux of it all. We're going to together create 3 to 5 emails, probably 5, as part of your welcome series. And I do it with a proven strategy. And this is the powerful way to build trust with your new contacts and help you to nurture your relationship with them. And then you're going to create a strategic plan so that things don't just stop there, so that you're creating consistent emails, offering valuable content to your audience without wasting time figuring out how to do it or what to share. So I'm going to take you real quick, you guys, through these take action modules, because I do want to listen to Britnie talking about ditching perfectionism today. So I'm going to talk fast. You guys will listen fast. Module 1, you want to walk before you run. So this module has just all things marketing. I'm just going to start at the very, very basics, how to identify and speak to your ideal client, what all of the email marketing terms mean, and what you need to get your audience to take action. In module 2, you're going to learn all about the different types of lead generators. There are so many of them. You're going to choose one and you're going to make it that one. You can always make more later. That's the beauty of taking a course, is now you own that information. I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm not giving you the fish. Module 3 is we're actually going to create the sign-up forms or embed them into your site. Module 4, step by step, a proven framework. I use the Donald Miller framework for creating each of the 5 emails in your sequence. It is so effective. I've heard from so many marketers that this is the proven framework to use. So you get scripts and templates on creating a 5-part nurture sequence that's proven to work. Then we get techie. We're going to set up your email automation on your email service provider. We're going to talk about triggers, segmenting, analytics, whatever you need so that you're going to make the very most of your welcome email series. And then again, we're going to set up that plan so that you are continually offering generous, consistent content to solve the problems of your intended audience so that you're nurturing them and converting them. It's less than 2 hours. The reason I'm dropping this week by week is because I don't want anybody to have a course that they go, I'll get to that later. This is a course that you'll spend 2 hours each week. One of the weeks you might spend a little bit more time on that, but plan on spending 2 hours a week on consuming the course and then taking action. Of course, we know in this case, it doesn't work unless you take the action. After that, you're set up to save hours and hours of time in the future. So usually that would be about $1,200 when I'm working with my clients one-on-one, depending on what they need. And just to remind you, here's what you get: the 6 training modules, videos, tutorials, you get PDFs, scripts, templates, and a tech how-to library. And then, of course, there's going to be more. I have bonuses. There's going to be the 8 weeks of live support in the group with personalized feedback and community accountability, which again, if you're ever worried about buying a course and not doing the things, we don't let you slip back. This is not for the faint of heart. These are for people who want to kick it into gear. And then you're going to get the bonus training on creating consistent, generous content. Those together are about $800 in value. Here it is again, the bonus number 1, the Facebook. And also I switched this out. It was 8 weeks of Facebook Live. Now it is still 8 weeks of Facebook Live, but included in that, 3 of the weeks we're going to go live together as a community in Zoom so that we can build community and be face-to-face and meet. I've also added in there a 2-hour implementation session. And then bonus number 2 is the training to create consistent, compelling content. Here it is all together again. Of course, it's not $2,000, it's $497. So it's just about half of what it would be to work with me one-on-one to get this done. And again, I'm teaching you to fish, not selling you the fish. And this is exactly what I work with my clients on one-to-one. But you get the added perk of being in a community of like-minded entrepreneurs. You're going to connect with your clients with ease. It's time to automate so that you're generously welcoming your new subscribers, and you're going to save a ton of time. So go ahead over to riseabovenoise.com/action. And of course, it's a banner on my website. Like I've done all the things. I'd love to get you started. If you have any questions at all about this, go ahead and message me. You can direct message me privately. You can Voxer me at sfin. You can email me any way you want to. Let's make sure that I get your questions answered. That was quite a sales pitch. Whew, now I get to do what I really love to do, which is introduce you guys to Britnie Hurd. And let me tell you, I'm going to read her bio and then we're going to get into it. Here we go. Sorry, you guys, I'm a little off here. So Britnie is an alignment neuro-astrologist. And we're going to talk today about shifting debilitating perfectionism using neuro-astrology, which is so cool. We're going to talk about why perfectionism is a thing that stops us in a track, how we can use astrology to reveal our untapped gifts, and how to create lasting feelings of confidence, success, and freedom. When I asked Britnie, what is your superpower? She answered that her superpower is igniting the fire within others. And I'd love to start there, Britnie. Like, how do you do that?
Well, to really answer that question, it really starts with what has astrology done for me in my life? And that's why this is the tool, what I use to ignite it within others. For example, I have actually been obsessed with astrology since I was about 9 years old. And how that happened was my mom started taking me to local metaphysical fairs where I got exposed to all the woo-woo stuff and its glory. I actually didn't even know the term woo-woo until about 3 years ago, thanks to my California folks. And astrology ended up being my ultimate favorite tool because it gave me a tool to better understand my classmates, better understand myself, and also in turn, yes, I was the crazy 9-year-old going, what am I going to be when I grow up? What's my purpose? Why am I here? Right? And so I self-studied, self-researched for over 25 years till this present day. And as I got older, I started my first career as a funeral director, where I was in this industry for about a decade. And during this time, this is where my love of business started. But not just that, I loved what I did. I wanted to be the respected expert as a funeral director. So year after year after year, I would gain more experience, gain more knowledge about the ins and out of the funeral industry. And I never felt any more like an expert every year. Every year, the debilitating perfectionism that I especially had would build up more and more because I thought that was the best way to serve my clients. But it actually led me into a direction where I felt so stuck that I got quite suicidal at a point, till the universe swooped in and put me in a car accident to wake me up because it was time for a change. This was not working.
Wow.
And so after I made this shift into a new direction, years later, I started my first business where my whole life made a total 180 shift, in the sense I started waking up with purpose, started waking up excited, like my passion was coming out. But then again, year after year with this business, which was actually a black car service that went on hold thanks to the pandemic, because just before the pandemic, I was about to make this business to be a well over of $250,000 business. But I'll tell you, in the end, I didn't care, because what I cared about was creating a business with what I meant to do. That's creating space for allowing me to become who I meant to become, doing what I meant to be doing, where I meant to make an impact, my why behind it all, and also when. So I'm glad to say is finally my when, and I am so excited. I am committed now to help other women entrepreneurs with things such as this debilitating perfectionism that gets us in places of stuckness within our business when all we do is want to make a difference in the world. We care. We want to make life better for everybody. That's why we became an entrepreneur. So that's a little bit on my story here. Thank you,
Well,
Susan.
it's so,
This is a
thank you for
mouthful there.
sharing that. And you know what? Everybody comes from a different place. Not everybody had those experiences. Not everybody had that horrific car accident, but I do think we all have come through someplace, and we're here now. And you actually honored me a little while ago, Britnie. You guys, when we were getting ready to go live this morning, oh, and even on the masterclass that I ran last week or the week before, like, you guys probably never know that I even have a dog here because she's so good. She's so quiet. But both times that I've been on with Britnie, the dog has barked for one reason or another. And so just now I was like, oh, let me go have a chat with the dog. And Britnie, you honored me by saying someday I want to feel calm like that, or I just want to feel like that. And that honors me because no matter how we show up, like, I know I present pretty well, but inside I don't feel like I do. You know what I mean? Like, we're all like, oh, I could have done that better. Oh my gosh, this or that. And even just putting together, even that little spiel that I just did this morning, I changed it. Like, I practiced, I changed it, I practiced and I changed it. I still don't love it. It's like, we work really hard.
Yeah.
So how, like, in the work that you do with people, how do you get them by that?
Well, one way is just providing the clarity, like finally having that validation of your alignment with who, what, where, why, and when, but also knowing your gifts, what your potential are that you're meant to bring out to the world. Because I'll tell you, ladies, deep down, we all know what our gifts are. They've been there all along since you were born. What I do is I use astrology to help you remember who you are, because we are all wonderful. We have the powers of each planet. I'm going a little bit on a tangent, but this feels really good, ladies. We have the planetary power within us, every single zodiac sign. We get to design our lives and decide how everything's going to come out. And this is what astrology has done for me. I realized I kind of cheated in a sense that I had the map to what I wanted to do with my life. This is what I want to give to everybody, because as I've been shifting out of the debilitating perfectionism, everything's getting out of my way. All this weight is dropping off and things are becoming laser focused, and I know exactly where I'm going, what I want to do around my 5 W's that I was kind of stating, right? But not just that, like, I feel like I cheated, like, because I have the A to B map in a sense. And when you have the A to B map, that takes out a lot of the debilitating perfectionism, a lot of the just knowing where you're going. And that way you're so laser focused.
So tell me about this A to B map. So I know because we've had a talk about where it is, but if anybody is like, wait, how can I get some of that? Right? Like, what is it how do you create that map? What is it, the work that you do?
So what I do is I plug in our birth map. Is we all each have a birth map, which was an imprint for us when we were born. Now, where it gets a little tricky here is you still need an astrologer sometimes to navigate through these things. And yes, you can study astrology, and I'm working into teaching this stuff because I want to help a lot of people discover these maps. And some of them can be incredibly hard to navigate because some of us are incredibly multifaceted. It's like the universe has almost set it up for us to have an incredible amount of experiences because that's what it was meant to happen, to go down into one or maybe never. So it can be a little hard to navigate through this. So if you're open to discovering what your map is, I would invite you to, let's have a chat, or come join me on Facebook, because I'm in the process of creating a community of purpose warriors where we know what our map is and this is what we're up to.
Oh, I love that. I'm writing it down. A community of purpose warriors. I love that.
Thank you.
Now, for maybe there's something you can share with me to help with the clarity. I know that I wasn't able to do this. I don't know what time I was born, and I'll never be able to figure that out. But you do. You know what time you were born, and you've done, of course, mapping of yours. Do you mind sharing some of the insights from your astrology map that made you more clear on your journey?
You know, one of the most confusing pieces in my map is where I'm meant to go. I have these weights that hold me down back where, like, preventing me from jumping to the other side, almost, so to speak. And a lot of us do have this, that going in the direction that the universe wants us to go, and you'll know you're going there when all of a sudden you have synchronicities every day in your life, and you're like, I don't know why, your whole life just starts to flow. And that's what I mean by the universe starts to open up for us. But for example, in my chart, I have these big weights that I have to work on releasing before I can ever jump to the other side. So I'm always paying attention to that. And what that looks like for me is I'm coming from a world of immense complexity within the sign of a Scorpio. Scorpio rolls over these complexities versus I'm meant to go to a world of simplicity, calm, which is in this Taurus nature. And that's part of why I'm meant to build businesses. This is what got me into the business world. And the more you head in this direction, like your soul lights up. And so I'm still working, like, getting this into words sometimes. But once I help you recognize how you've done this in your whole life, you'll almost remember like a flow that you've quite never experienced any other time when you did activate that energy.
It's amazing when you can tap into this.
Yeah. So I almost kind of feel like I cheated with the map, but we all have this.
Well, yes, but so there's all those aspects. There's we all have that. And maybe we just go on our merry way and we don't know that we have that, and we're going against what's supposed to be natural to us. And so that's why we don't feel, right? And then it's either like you're open to learning,
Yeah.
or you're not, right?
Yes.
And what does it take to learn? And it's, the whole I'm so curious all of the time, almost to a detriment, because it's very time consuming to be so curious all of the time.
Yeah.
But the more you know, the more you want to know. And
Yeah.
wouldn't you be curious about your own path and what's supposed to be? It's interesting. It's so good. I just want to confirm, Heather was asking about your website, and you're still working on your website, so we don't have that at this
Yes.
point. I just want to confirm that. And we're going to share a link to have a conversation with you and learn more. I think we still have some more time. Hold on, let me check my clock here. Yeah, we have a few more minutes. So in the work that you've done with other people, what's been some of the aha moments that people have had working with you?
You know, some of my favorite moments is always just giving the good news that you're going in the right direction, and you've been doing that all along and you didn't even realize it. So for example, I've been helping a lot of beautiful women in the past year, confirming that they're on the right path, because during the pandemic, right, they're wondering if they should stay in the same field, which they've already found a very nice place for themselves, or should they jump ship? And I looked into a lot of things, and especially with astrology, with the when piece, some of my techniques from nearly over 2,000 years ago tell a story that is untold. And so you can start seeing where the universe is kind of pointing you in this direction. And that's some of my favorite part, just to give good news, because I love to confirm for people, you knew exactly who you are. You're on the right path. But maybe we just add a little piece in there. But most of you, you're on the right path. And I love giving that news. But I love to enlighten you with your gifts too. That's one of my favorite things to do.
So I want to bring it back around. So that wouldn't you love to hear that? Like, I would love to hear somebody say to me, "Oh yeah, Susan, you're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing," or "You're doing great, but you're not making the most of your gifts. Here's some suggestions to make it better." But I'm still like, if I'm still stuck, I want to bring it back to the perfectionism part of it. So you know where you're supposed to go. And sometimes that's more of a feel like an obligation. I'm like, oh, well, that's supposed to be my path. I'm not doing it right. Like, how do we just get by this? Like, I'm not doing it right. Or, and I'm going to give you another example. When I work with my service-based professionals, and let's say we're going to create an email sequence for them, many of them will just get frozen, even just at the very beginning, just to create a freebie for somebody because they want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
And they want it to be just so. Even when I was doing my masterclass last week, and I was following the Amy Porterfield way of doing a masterclass, and if I had just done it my way, I think I would have felt a lot better, but I was trying to, I've always been a good student, right? So I'm like, I got to do right. And Amy says, do this. And then Amy says, do that. And so I did do it and I feel okay about it, but how do we get by that? Like all the shoulds, how do we like stop shoulding on ourselves?
Well, that's a big conversation that we start with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Anytime we ask ourselves, could I do this? It's likely coming from a place where it's what we think we should do. And so it's kind of a societal belief. So anytime we have shoulda, coulda, wouldas, we want to watch those first of all. But what I loved is that astrology introduces you to your core. And once you discover and go down more of that route, like how am I supposed to show up in this particular situation? Well, let's look at what part of this is a little technical talk. I look at what part of the chart really, how am I meant to show up in this? What is my actual personality type? And what genius am I meant to bring out? And kind of finding the median between some of these. I know this might not be the best example this morning. Maybe my coffee is not kicking in as fast as I would like.
Well, I think it's also a difficult subject to talk about until you're into it. I mean, you're looking at all of the different 365 days, all those hours, like everybody is going to be different, and to pinpoint exactly who a person is cannot be an easy task.
Yeah, I think that's my struggle here right now. So, for example, just looking at the chart I know the best, my chart, what created this is different for all of us. So that's why it's quite an individual basis. But for me specifically, just to paint an example, or I could use celebrities too, I have such an array of an imbalance of Capricorn in my chart, which created the debilitating perfectionism. If you think about a sign that is the master of accomplishment, you probably want to, like, it's going to go in the direction of creating this debilitating perfectionism when all we're looking for in the end is a place of balance.
Hmm.
So too much Capricorn's throwing it off in this on the spectrum way in the opposite way when I'm working in a place of getting to the middle.
I like that. That was a really good way to describe that.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to grab your scheduling link that you sent to me before. Let's see if I can get that. That's the best way for people to kind of learn about you at this point as you're going through your own journey with
If not,
this.
please friend request me on Facebook. I'm working on building a community of us purpose warriors.
I love
And that's the
that.
best way to jump on since I haven't gotten to the place where I've gotten my website up. Very close.
Let's see if I can get, it's not tagging me, but I've tagged you. I'll tag you and make sure that they can find you on Facebook. So friend Britnie on Facebook, you know, she's on, you're also on LinkedIn, and then schedule a free call with her to learn more and see what this goes. And I think also in the Rise Above Noise Facebook group, I feel like there's probably a lot of people who have synchronicity with the work that you do. And so I would imagine that you're opening to collaborating if anybody's having any kind of an event where they need somebody who has your skills.
Yeah.
That you'd be a great addition to whatever they've got going on. I know that the energy's changing and people are either having in-person retreats or more Zoom cyber retreats or whatever, but people are ready for this, to open up in different ways and to find out who they are. Yeah. Brittany, thank you so much for being with me this morning with your cozy fleecy vest. You
Well,
look
thank
like
you
a,
so much for having me, Susan. This has been amazing.
you're very welcome. Heather's asking how much does it cost? And I would imagine that it would depend on the different services that you offer. So that would be a conversation you could have
Yeah, for
with
sure.
Heather.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, Heather. All right. Well, enjoy your day. I'm going to sign us off of Facebook here. You guys on Facebook, let us know if you have any questions. Put replay, hashtag replay, ask us your questions, tag me, tag Brittany. We'll be kind of checking in today and tomorrow to see how we can be of more service on this topic. I know it's a topic that people are struggling with. I know it.